Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised,
I have ordered attack on enemy military
targets. There can be no greater good than the quest for peace, and no finer purpose than the preservation of freedom.
I, in my capacity, am alive today and able to talk to you now because I stayed safe. I had to.
Working on the flight deck itself is inherently dangerous. If you make a mistake, depending on how big a mistake, a lot of people can die. You have to be real careful. The reason they have the warning and the caution notes, the warnings means that probably somebody did something wrong and maybe died or something blew up. You can't get complacent, because if you get used to it, it's a good chance you're going to get hurt. You see pilots in action, you see people working on these airplanes, you see people launching them, recovering, loading them. It's action-packed, fast-moving, so you have to have your head on a swivel. You might have a propeller over on your right, a jet engine over on your left. Turn it. Always turn your head and look in the direction that you're going to be moving. If you just take off running, you'll ever run into a propeller or a jet intake. No matter where you go on an aircraft carrier or any ship, it's an unforgiving atmosphere. You can fall off the flight deck, ladder well, so it gets real dangerous up here, especially at night.
People don't realize that on the Midway, we probably had a small fire someplace every day, because we're a crew of 3,500. So we would call away the flying squad almost daily to handle small fires or major occurrences.
I would go down to the pump room on watch, usually the mid-watch from midnight to 4 a.m., and lose sleep. But I had to go down and check for fires and anything that might be going on, or anything that happens, report it, and keep the ship as safe as possible. It's not an easy job. It's a very dangerous job. Every man on the flight deck was responsible for his own safety. There was men around that were also responsible for my safety. There was one time that I was down on the mess deck and night operations were going on. I got up on the flight deck, and just about that time, something went whizzing past my head. And I looked down the flight deck, and F-8U had just lost his nose gear. I hit the deck. I hugged it, and I crawled back to the catwalk, and I left the flight deck. He had snapped his nose gear when he hit the deck, and it went past my head, maybe this far away. I never went up on that flight deck again like that.
You get aircraft coming in and going all the time. Sometimes you don't see everything that's going on because it's so dark outside. It's very difficult to sometimes keep your balance, your sea legs. You really work as sailors harder when you're working at night. The most dangerous times to work at is not so much the nighttime, but also during storms, rolling decks, rolling seas. We work at all kinds of weather. Your effort makes a whole big difference of what happens next.
I think the biggest thing with the Navy is we try to make sure that you know your job and that you have a chance to learn your job before you really thrust into it. And then once you're thrust into it, you're expected to do your job.
made a commitment to not only myself, but to my crewmates, and everybody did their jobs and did them well.